The massive holographic projection flickered to life in the center of the United Nations General Assembly Hall. Every world leader, every military commander, and every scientist who mattered sat in complete silence. The alien before them stood 12 feet tall, with skin that seemed to absorb light itself. Ambassador of the Dominion spoke in a cold, mechanical voice that the translation software barely managed to convert into human languages. Species designation, human. Planet designation, Earth. You have been observed for the past 300 of your solar cycles. The Galactic Council has reached a decision. Your species shows dangerous tendencies. Your capacity for violence exceeds acceptable parameters. Your technological growth rate threatens the established order. Therefore, by unanimous vote of the 17 member species of the Council, Earth is hereby ordered to surrender all military assets, all space-capable vessels, and all weapons research immediately. The silence in the hall grew heavier. On screens across the world, billions of humans watched this moment unfold. Families held each other. Children asked questions their parents could not answer. The weight of the universe seemed to press down upon the small blue planet. Continued without emotion. You will be assigned a governance species to oversee your civilization. Your population will be reduced to sustainable levels as determined by Council standards. Resistance is not a statistical possibility. The Dominion fleet currently positioned beyond your moon consists of 4,000 warships. Each vessel is capable of destroying a continent. You have one rotation of your planet to comply. The alien paused, its large black eyes scanning the room full of humans. Do you understand these terms? Secretary General stood slowly from her chair. She was a small woman, barely 5 feet tall, with hair and wrinkles earned from decades of diplomatic service. Her hands did not shake. Her voice did not waver. She looked directly into the holographic projection and spoke words that would echo through history. We understand your terms perfectly, Ambassador, and humanity's answer is no. His head tilted slightly. In 3,000 years of delivering these ultimatums to primitive species, not once had any civilization refused. Perhaps the translation software has malfunctioned. You cannot refuse. Refusal means extinction. Smiled. It was not a nervous smile or a frightened smile. It was the smile of someone who knew something the other person did not. Your translation is accurate. We refuse. We will not surrender our weapons. We will not surrender our ships. We will not surrender our people. And we will not surrender our future. The alien's skin shifted to a slightly darker shade. This was an expression the humans could not read, but those who studied alien psychology would later identify it as confusion mixed with the first hints of concern. This is not a negotiation, stated firmly. The Council has spoken. Species that refuse are eliminated. This has happened 47 times in recorded galactic history. There are no exceptions. Then we will be your first exception, replied. The holographic projection flickered as transmitted this response back to the Council ships. Across the void of space, 17 different species watched the exchange with growing unease. The ancient beings of pure energy communicated amongst themselves. The warriors who had conquered 100 worlds, clicked their mandibles nervously. Even the Dominion High Command, beings who had never known defeat, felt something unfamiliar stirring in their minds. Fear. Because the humans were not panicking, they were not crying, they were not begging, they were smiling. All of them were smiling. Admiral Wei stood in the command center of the hidden facility buried 3 miles beneath the mountains of Tibet. Around him, hundreds of officers worked at their stations with calm efficiency. On his screens, he could see the alien fleet. 4,000 ships, each one a masterpiece of technology that humanity could not hope to match. But Admiral was also smiling. Launch sequence confirmed, reported his second-in-command. All 712 orbital platforms are online. Lunar installations report ready status. Mars colony has powered up the defense grid. The belt miners have armed their asteroid. Nodded slowly, and Project Prometheus. Standing by, Admiral. 32 locations across 6 continents. All fusion warheads are primed and targeted. The alien fleet had no idea that they were surrounded. For 50 years, ever since humanity had detected the first Dominion scout ship, they had been preparing. Every space program, every defense initiative, every scientific breakthrough had been secretly directed toward one goal: not exploration, not conquest, survival. The Council believed humans were a young species, barely capable of leaving their own planet. They did not know about the shipyards hidden in the asteroid belt. They did not know about the weapons platforms disguised as communication satellites. They did not know about the quantum entanglement communication network that connected every human installation in the solar system. And they certainly did not know about the 1 million soldiers who had volunteered for the first wave. This image reappeared in the UN hall. The Council is puzzled by your response. We are offering you one final opportunity to reconsider. Surrender now, and your population reduction will be limited to 40%. Continue this foolishness, and we will reduce your species to manageable breeding stock. Laughed, actually laughed. Ambassador, let me tell you something about humans. We have spent our entire existence fighting each other. We have survived ice ages, plagues, famines, and 2 wars that engulfed our entire planet. We have split the atom, walked on our moon, and built machines that think faster than any biological mind. And do you know what we have learned from all of that suffering and struggle? She leaned forward, her eyes blazing with the fire of 7 billion souls behind her. We learned how to fight, we learned how to win, and we learned that we would rather die standing than live on our knees. In the Dominion flagship, High Commander Al watched the human female with something approaching respect. In his 800 years of life, he had never seen such defiance from a species facing certain destruction. His tactical officers were running calculations, and what they found made no sense. Commander, our scans are detecting anomalies. The humans appear to have orbital installations we did not previously observe. Current count is 712 platforms of unknown configuration. Al's 4 arms tightened on his command throne. Impossible. Their technology level does not support such construction. And Commander, we are detecting significant energy signatures from their asteroid belt, and their moon, and the 4th planet. For the first time in centuries, Al felt uncertainty creep into his mind. The Council had assured him this would be a simple suppression operation, a show of force followed by immediate surrender. That was how it always worked. That was how it had worked for 10,000 years. But these humans, these strange, violent, brilliant creatures, they had been watching, they had been waiting, and they had been building. On Earth, people gathered in the streets, not in panic but in solidarity. Strangers embraced strangers. Old enemies shook hands. National flags flew beside the blue flag of United Earth. A species that had spent its history divided was now united by a common threat, and rather than breaking under the pressure, they grew stronger. In Tokyo, an elderly veteran raised a glass to the sky. In Lagos, children sang songs of defiance. In Airs, Cairo, Moscow, and 1,000 other cities, the message was the same. We will not bow, we will not bend, we will fight. Admiral received the final confirmation from all sectors. Humanity was ready. The largest military operation in the history of Earth was about to begin, but before he gave the order, he allowed himself a moment of quiet reflection. They had been preparing for this day since his grandfather was a young officer. 3 generations of humanity's best minds had worked in secret, sacrificing their lives and their anonymity for a fight they might never see. Many of them had died never knowing if their work would matter. But it mattered. It all mattered. Open a channel to the Secretary General, ordered. Appeared on his screen. Admiral, is everything ready? Yes, Madam Secretary. We are prepared to execute Operation Defiance on your command." Took a deep breath. This was the moment that would define human history, victory or extinction. There was no middle ground, no retreat, no surrender. "Admiral, you have authorization. Show the universe what humanity is made of." The first wave launched simultaneously from 7 different locations across the solar system. 1 million soldiers in specially designed assault craft, moving at speeds the alien fleet had never anticipated. The orbital platforms activated, creating a web of energy weapons that turned the space around Earth into a kill zone. The lunar installations opened fire with that accelerated projectiles to significant fractions of light speed. The Mars defense grid added its own contribution, catching the rear elements of the alien fleet in a crossfire they never expected. The Dominion flagship shuddered as the first impacts registered. Al watched in disbelief as his tactical display lit up with warning after warning. 17 of his ships were destroyed in the opening volley, then 34, then 100. "How is this possible?" he demanded. Their technology was calculated to be centuries behind ours. His science officer's response came through a voice distorted by panic. "Their weapons. They are not using standard energy projectors. They are accelerating physical projectiles, and their yield is beyond our calculations. Commander, they appear to be using controlled nuclear detonation as a propulsion system." Humans had done what no other species had ever considered. They had weaponized their own primitive technology in ways the advanced civilizations never imagined. Because the Council looked down on chemical propulsion and fission weapons as barbaric relics, they never studied them. They never prepared defenses against them. And now those barbaric relics were tearing the Dominion fleet apart. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it was over, 3,800 Dominion ships had been destroyed or captured. Humanity had lost 42% of its forces, but they had won. Against impossible odds, against technology centuries ahead of their own, against the unified might of 17 alien species, humanity had won. Ambassador's hologram appeared one final time in the UN hall, but now the skin was pale and those large black eyes showed something new: respect. "The Council wishes to negotiate." Smiled that same knowing smile. "We thought you might. Please inform the Council that Earth has terms of its own, and Ambassador, from this day forward you will address us as equals." The galaxy would never be the same. A small blue planet in an unremarkable corner of the Milky Way had done the impossible. They had stood against the oldest powers in the universe and refused to break. And in the centuries to come, when young aliens asked their elders about the species called humans, they would hear the same warning. Never threaten their home. Never threaten their children. Never give them a reason to fight. Because when humans smile in the face of annihilation, it means they have already found a way to win. And Earth would never bow to anyone again.